Hello everyone. Welcome on in. I'm Velvet. Thanks for joining me today for the Cottage Cafe speed build. Welcome on in for the Sims 4 speed build. I am Velvet and I love to play the Sims 4. I love to build in the Sims 4 particularly. And yeah, I love a bit of gameplay and CAS as well, but mainly I love a bit of I love a bit of building. So today we're going to be building this cute little cafe in a cottagey style. So it's like a cottagecore cafe. Now, I've been doing this little challenge lately. It's called Build My Shell Val, which is basically people getting revenge on me for my shell challenges by creating shells for me to build. So this is one of the shells that I got to build, which is very cool. This was created by It's Emily 2004. So they created this little shell for me to turn into something. Now, not only that, but I also do this on stream, so chat has a little say in part of the challenge as well. So they got to choose the colours, which were orange and brown, and they also got to choose the type of build. So this was a small business, so it's a business and residential. So it has like the little residence up on top, and it has the cafe underneath. So yeah, that's how the challenge sort of came about, and that's what we're doing today. I don't actually build a lot of cottages, so I don't feel like I'm super comfortable or super experty about about cottages. I like every now and then, but I do enjoy building them, and they are so cute. But I don't know if like really cutesy little builds are my thing, in that I do a lot of them, and I feel like I'm really super comfy with them is really what I'm trying to say. But I really enjoy doing them, and I feel like I do need to practice them more. So this was a really good opportunity for me to do a little bit more practicing with making cutesy little cottagey type builds. So this is my little attempt at this particular cottage using the shell that I had available to me. Thank you, it's Emily. So I am locking into the orange and brown theme. I used a lot of dark brown. I feel like dark brown and orange kind of work really well together. So that's the color shades that I wanted to lean into. I didn't go like super orange on the outside. I didn't really feel like a bright orange cottage was quite the thing, but I did find this orangey stone, which I think is from which pack is that from? Maybe High School Years, and I'm not too sure actually on that one. I didn't actually make this a limited pack build. This is just purely whatever pack I like kind of build, so it's all very assorted and that sort of thing. But you know what? I think it's working out quite nicely. I was quite happy with how it all sort of came together. We got like the the what's the word? What's the word? The thatch roof, and lots of wood. We've got the stone. We've got like the windows with the shutters, and a little bit of ivy climbing up the wall. I also did want to make this kind of like a self-sufficient home. You know how a lot of we got with the cottage living pack, we got the simple living trait for lots. So I did want to let or allow or have or build a little garden for this cafe as well, so they could do like the little bit of the simple living side of things. So if they did want to make like some cafe foods, then they can maybe bake the pies and have all the little ingredients that you can sort of collect, like your eggs and your flour and bits and pieces that you can get from the grocer down in Henford On Bagley, and be able to do all that side of things. I mean, it's a really great way, I think, of running a business, plus making a little bit more of a profit as well. It's actually something that I do want to explore in game a little bit more, is just using these businesses and then finding ways to add in things like your simple living to it, just to try and make a little bit more profit and make it harder and more fun. Now, I am building this on a 40 by 30 lot at the moment. I at some point I think soonish actually, I went to save this build, and then I realized there was a tree right in front of the picture from the gallery, and I was just like, no, we are not going to do that. So this build ends up changing lots, and I end up changing it to, here we go, by 20 lot, you can see it's just like suddenly shrunk down quite a lot there. So yeah, it's changed now to a 30 by 20 lot, and I believe it is 5 Cobblebottom Street in Henford On Bagley. So I actually moved it down into the town area, which in hindsight actually works a little better anyhow, because when you're in the town area, and it's like more likely to have more customers in that area, whereas the area that I was building, because I initially thought I wanted a 40 by 30 lot, and I did want a 40 by 30 lot because I wanted to have like a big parking lot and blah blah blah. um but it was like up in the rural nowheres, and logically for a business it kind of makes more sense to have this down in the actual township of Henford on Bagley. So yeah, it ended up working out better in the end to shift the lot, as it turned out. But yeah, fortunately, I did actually see that the gallery picture was going to be very, very bad. So I did a quick changearoo, and it was much better. It's actually really good, a really good habit to get into is actually before you start building, just checking the gallery picture and what that's going to be like in terms of like the angle, so that A, you're building it on the right side, and B, that you don't have a giant tree sticking in the middle of your picture. There are unfortunately a number of lots that are like that have like a giant tree blocking it, which is really frustrating, because there's some really nice lots out there that you just really don't get a view with the gallery. So yeah, it's kind of irritating. I know there's at least one, I think maybe two lots like that in Mount Komorabi as well. And I know there's a few lots around like that around the place as well. I think there might be one in Windenburg too, but yeah. It's a really good habit. Check your gallery picture before you start building. So A, you know which angle you're going to be building on. So see what is the front side, make sure you got the right side coming in. And B, make sure that you can actually see the lot and that it isn't blocked by a tree. So you'll start to see here I'm bringing in like more touches of the orange now. There was quite a lot of brown on the exterior, but with the plants I did bring in a lot more of the orange, because I was really planning blah, words to stick to the orange and brown theme. So yeah, bringing in the orange through the plants, because there isn't a lot of, as I said, orange exterior stuff that was really going to work for a cottage. So I leaned more into the brown side of things for that, and then sort of lifted the build with some orange contrast items, like your flowers and plants, and your tables and chairs as well, because I wanted that porch there around the front to have some tables and chairs with the umbrellas and all that sort of stuff on it. So as I said earlier, the bottom level is actually going to be all of the cafe. So that's going to be all the cafe area. So there's going to be indoor and outdoor seating. And inside the cafe, you've got like your espresso bar, and there's actually going to be an employee kitchen as well. So the employees can go in there and do like, a little bit of cooking and baking, so that they can sell their baked goods in their little display, which I almost forgot. I almost forgot the display, but I remembered that at the last minute. I was just like, oh no, we need the cooking display. I think I missed it from the actual build itself, but I think I put it in during play testing, because I play tested it and I was just like, oh, hang on, where am I going to put all my baked goods? I need my display. So there is a display in the final version, but I don't think there's a display in this actual version here where I am building. So it went in play testing. Oh, I love these string lights that came with Businesses and Hobbies. They're so pretty. I couldn't actually get them down the other side. They were just like sticking out really far, and I don't know quite why. It just weren't positioning very well. So instead, I decided to put some of these little string lights in this fig tree that came with Businesses and Hobbies as well. I love this fig tree. It's very cool. I've actually used it in one of my beach house builds. I did like I sized up the fig tree by one, and then added like these dangly lights coming down off it, and that was a cool idea as well. But the string lights work just as well on the smaller version of the fig tree too, so they ended up working out quite nicely. So yes, adding some lights for nighttime. Don't forget about your lights at nighttime. The Sims are still wandering around in the night hours, so you know what? It's good to have a little bit of a play around in your nighttime view and just see how it does light up at night, and whether or not the little areas that you do want lit up, are visible for your Sims to wander around in. I always like to do that and make sure that it is lit up at night. So we can fit parking for 3 in our little parking lot, but it is right near the town. So I feel like, it's close enough to the township that you could wander in and you could reach this cafe without having to actually directly, drive there. Like maybe you're going down to Henford On Bagley, and it's a lovely day in the old bag, and you're out there doing a little bit of shopping. So you're going to two grocery things, and then you're going to the pub maybe for a nice tipple, and then you were like, oh no, hang on, bit too early for that. I'm going to head over to the cafe and maybe get some baked goods too. I feel like maybe the pub would be direct competition for our cafe a little bit, but yeah, maybe we're more for the day and the pub's more for the night time. That could work out okay. So I'm just doing the little employee area. So that's just going to be like the dumpster and just like a little bit of seating and that sort of thing, and just finishing off the last of the outside. So on the interior, I was initially going to do this as 2 bedroom. Then I changed my mind, and then I was going to do it as 1 bedroom. And then eventually I changed my mind again and changed it back to 2 bedroom. So as I was sort of building this and as this was sort of evolving, it changed into being a cafe that's run by a grandmother and a granddaughter. So it is going to be ending up being a 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom build. So one of the bathrooms is down in the cafe area, and there's a second bathroom up in the residential area. And one is it's a double bedroom as well as a single bedroom. So for the granddaughter and for the grandma. So I thought that was really cute and wholesome, and you can kind of imagine those, like, them working together, and they're doing like cute little baking, and they're in the garden, like, making their or growing their cute, their adorable little things that they need to bake with. I don't know, cherry trees and strawberries and all that sort of thing. I could imagine like the cafe being filled with pies. Pies and yummy things that would be so delicious. I could really go for like some sort of pie right now, like a raspberry pie or a strawberry pie, or I don't know, strawberry pie, is that a thing? We don't really do like I mean, we have fruit pies here, but we don't really, they're not so big here. So I know that fruit pies and stuff are really big in America, like peach pies and stuff like that. But we don't have them so readily available here. We're more about the savory pies here, like your mince pie and your bacon and egg pie, and all those sorts of pies. So many flavors of pies, all of the pies. I've spoken too much about pies. So in terms of the build, let's go back there. This is going to be the employee kitchen right here. So I did want to make this, uh, good for creating commercial, like, like from the commercial sort of side of things. So they're able to prep ingredients and obviously store ingredients in the fridge if they want to. And yeah, that's why I put two of the food processors in there, so that they can, prep their doughs and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that was kind of the idea behind this little kitchen. Like, it's not huge, but they can still do, I think a decent amount of prep and cooking in there, which is quite good. And it's got its own rubbish bin and stuff in there. So this is the espresso counter. So I wanted to create like a little employee nook. So, the employees will go behind this espresso counter. So I'm just going to put like a little gate in there so it's all blocked off. And when I set this up in playtesting, I did have that little kitchen at the back set up as an employee only area. And yeah, so I feel like that should work okay, I think. Fingers crossed. But yeah, got all my menus up there and just working on the seating. You know what the hardest thing about this build was? It was the rugs. I struggled with the rugs because I was trying to bring in the orange, because obviously, we've got quite a bit of brown there, and orange was the harder color to sort of bring into it. I felt like the chairs were okay as far as the colors go, like, brought that pop of orange, but the struggle, and the struggle was real, was finding rugs that would work with this sort of the aesthetic. Like, I didn't want them rugs to look like super modern, but it really was a struggle. There is a giant lack of orange rugs, gotta say. I got there in the end, and it all worked out, but it was, yeah, you can't really see the struggle here, but I cut a lot of the struggle out. But it was a struggle, I promise. But yeah, sometimes there's just some colors in The Sims 4 where there are some areas where that's kind of lacking, and purple is another one of those colors that is really quite a struggle to use sometimes in the game, and particularly in certain styles. Like, I feel like Purple works really well in quite young, sort of modern style homes, but like, you know, when you go like a little bit older or like, you know, different styles, the purple is hard, and there's like nothing in the way of purple stuff or nothing much in the bathrooms. So when you're doing a color challenge, it can be a challenge for sure. But as you can see here, I feel like the cafe area is about done. So yes, now we are heading upstairs. So at this stage, I do only have the one bedroom, but I'm about to change my mind right there. And we're going to bring in the second bedroom right here. So it's just like, no, we're going to have a grandma and the granddaughter. You know, it's going to be sweet. So we've got a grandma and the granddaughter, and we're building a cute little kitchen. I was initially going to do a larger kitchen, but because I put the second bedroom in, it did mean that I had to squeeze down the kitchen a little bit. But I think just with the shape that I got, it ended up like working out okay, because I ended up putting in some kitchen islands around the front here, as you can see. So that ended up working out quite nicely. So instead of having a proper dining table, the grandma and granddaughter just actually dine at the kitchen island instead. So I felt that it worked out okay, you know? It worked out okay. And plus, having the kitchen clutter kit was absolutely amazing for this build, because obviously there's quite food focused. I feel like, it's a cafe. It's going to be food focused, right? So having like little bits of clutter and everything that I could spread around the place using the kitchen clutter kit was just like, yes, perfect. Like all the ingredient containers and like the grocery bag and the little bits and pieces. And then I mix them in with the Cool Kitchen kit and the Home Chef Hustle kit, packs, stuff packs. And yeah, it all worked out really nicely. So I was really happy with that. Like it felt like, a nice, cozy, used kitchen, which is kind of the idea. Because this is not a brand new modern home. This is a cozy cottagecore cafe. So yeah, it's been lived in for a few generations. It is lived in and loved. So I realized as I was going to do the grandma's bedroom that I'd kind of put the window on the back of the stairs, because I'd painted the stairs and I didn't realize I'd put the window on the back of the stairs. So I was just adjusting the windows there just to get them kind of aligned and actually on the wall, so they were, you can see through the window. Oh, and I dived into the Secret Sanctuary kit in here because I wasn't limiting myself as far as the packs or anything goes. I was actually digging into some of the kits that I haven't been using lately. And so the Secret Sanctuary kit came out for Grandma's room. So she got her little vanity and like a little gramophone player, which I thought was really cute, and a little antique TV in her room. So I thought that ended up looking adorable. I just, honestly, the struggle was real with the rug for under that bed, and also just the decision on the wallpaper. I skipped that over so you guys didn't see that, but it was real. Oh, it took so long. Anywho, just finishing off the lounge area here. So kept it fairly simple. Just had like the hall entrance area and then like a little bookshelf in there, couch with the end table, and then just did like a framed TV up on the wall. So I thought that was cute. End up having to shift a couple of things around in the living room just because I forgot the I forgot the rubbish bin. Okay, I forgot the rubbish bin. So ended up me having to shift the end table from beside the couch over to under the TV, and I put a plant under there as well, and then put the rubbish bin on the end of the kitchen islands. But just to allow the space for the Sims to be able to get through, I had to shift a couple of things around to make that work, but it did work. Now, the bathroom ended up being a smidge more modern than I think the rest of the build, but I felt like that was kind of fitting for a bathroom, so I wasn't too worried about that. And then, okay, look, I just wanted to use the sleek bathroom kit, okay? The kit is so nice for bathrooms. And I think if you're going to upgrade any room in the house, like bathroom's going to be one of the first. Like it's going to be bathroom and kitchen, right? Always seems to be the first picks. Anyhow, this is the last room, which is going to be the granddaughter's room. So it's a single sort of bunk bed, and we've got the desk underneath so she can still study. I felt like she was probably going to be maybe teen or in university, so she's able to help out grandma at the cafe, but she isn't there full time, you know. But she is sort of crafty. She's cutesy and craftsy, and she likes like crocheting, and she likes knitting and all those adorable things. So yeah, I think it ended up working out okay. And we've got some really good school stuff in there for as well. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys to enjoy the tour. Thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't subscribed already, remember to hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.